All right, good evening.
Can't hear you.
Order, okay. Time is 6:01. We're going to call the the special annual budget meeting back to order from recess from yesterday. I'll turn it over to the town clerk to do the roll call.
Representative Adams?
What?
Hold on, we're gonna start this again.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Okay, we're gonna do roll call real quick.
Okay, Representative Adams? Here. Allen? Here. Bailey? Belgum? Chase? Here. Conley? Here. Dinshinbrough?
Here.
DeGraffenwright? Doty? I see her online.
Doty? She's present.
Dutton?
Wait, hold on a sec, one sec. Can you guys hear us in the computer gallery? I don't think they can, because,
Just tone deaf.
all right.
They're just tone deaf. That's a long marriage, right?
All right, R.T.M. on Zoom, can you hear us now? Can you give us a yes, thumbs up, or thumbs down?
They hear us?
Yes, we're good? Okay, great, thank you. All right, I was, just so we're, keep on a good count here, I was on 5. Which,
I had 6 with Doty.
all right, I didn't count Doty, so, all right. Representative Doty, you're here. All right, so we're at 6, okay, thank you.
Dutton? Fitzgerald?
This is Representative Fox. Am I being recorded?
Fox?
Start writing.
Fox is online?
Yeah.
He's got a,
Can I verify that Representative Fox is,
So Fox
can be
makes
heard
Okay.
at the meeting?
we're good.
Brickman?
Brickman?
Yep, I'm here, I'm present. Did you guys do roll call? Because I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we had a little technical glitch, so we are doing roll call right now. Thank you, Rep. Fickman.
Garner A. Garner M. Gibbs. Hume. Cadden. Here. Kennison. Here. Massett. Here. Matter.
Here.
McElroy. Here. Morgan.
Here.
Norman. Norris. Here. Aubrey. Parella.
Here.
Peter Freund. Here. Powers K.
Here.
Powers S.
Here.
Pulaski.
Here, and Rep. Dutton reports that for another night, she can't get into the Zoom meeting, and if anything could be done about it, it would be a good thing.
Thank you.
Spotted. Thaxton. Thompson.
Here.
Omritz. Watson.
Here.
Weaver. Wells.
Here.
Whitney.
Here.
Woods.
Here.
Tesuka.
Here.
Moderator Ambrose.
I'm here.
I have 31.
I have 31.
Okay.
We got a good count.
This is Representative Fox.
We're trying to get,
Uh,
Ben?
phone, unless you wanted to speak, please. Because we're getting a little back chatter. All right, so we have a quorum. We're back from recess from yesterday's special annual budget meeting for the RTM. I got to bring up two things before we get started, and it's budget-related and count-related. We found that the membership that was here was actually -1 yesterday, so at one point or another, we were saying 34, but it was actually 33, and then we called to order. We thought it was 33, but it was actually 32, so I'm just going to let you know when we have our next regular meeting, we just have to make that adjustment and amend it. So all the votes are basically -1. The other one is regarding the public comment from a member of the Board of Ed regarding the notification of the meeting that happened last week for education. I was mistaken with the notification that was on the website under the agenda meetings. It did actually say that it was hybrid. However, a post notification that was at the town clerk's office was an in-person meeting. I am still going to stick by my judgment, along with consultation of the R.T.M. Committee Chair for Education, that it was a valid meeting. We are going to get those meeting minutes to you so that you can see them for prior to next Tuesday. I just talked to the clerk's office so that we can hand those out. Unless there's an objection of the decision of the chair, we're just going to keep it moving. But I did want to make sure it was fully transparent, that I double-checked and I was incorrect, so I apologize on that side, on the tech side. Okay, and I know that town clerk's office as well as the town manager are going to work to try to streamline and put safeguards in so that stuff like this doesn't happen in the future, which again, I think was an anomaly to begin with. So I thank all you guys for being patient with us. Human nature. That was a song by Michael Jackson. All right. I'm going to call, okay, I can wrestle him away from his ice cream cone. I could have dragged it out a little bit longer,
we
but,
did good. You're fine.
okay. We do
It'll be
have,
soggy when I go back, but that's all right.
thank you. We do have another member coming in, so we're at 32 right now. Those Gibbs. Okay. All right, so we're going to cover these first two accounts through finance, and then we'll go over the CIPs for these accounts as well. So if you can please start us off, Madam.
Okay, account number 1011, Information Technology, it's found on page 72. Director Spellman was with us. Chairman Powers asked Representative Chase to move $1,464,084. It was seconded by Representative Gardner. So moved.
Okay, motion was moved by Chair Powers, seconded by Representative Gardner N. for account 1011, Information Technology, $1,464,084. All right, Chair Powers, did you want to give, we've got another member here, so we're at 33. If you wanted to give discussion on that budget number?
Yeah,
did you have-
the budget actually decreased $26,645, and Director Spellman gave a brief overview of the decrease for us. If you'd like to have her, she's here. If there's any questions, I'm sure she...
We can go with the vote right now if you want, and then
Okay.
if anybody has any questions, we can bring Director Spellman to the table.
Basically, the committee had no we had no questions for her during discussion. Four were in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions.
Okay. All right, so I'll open up the floor for the RTM to discuss this. Just to be clear, this was the town manager's number that was approved by the town council and approved by the RTM committee. Are there any questions regarding this main motion on the floor? And we do have Director Spellman here if there's any questions. All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on 1011 Information Technology in the amount of $1,464,084. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously, 33-0-0. Thank you. All right, if you can go on to account 6050,
I
please.
gotta find it, you gotta give me
Okay,
a minute here.
it's
okay?
on 76?
No, I have
Oh,
to find it
minutes,
in
I
my
apologize.
notes. Just have to give me a few minutes here.
We have Representative Aubrey online now, too, so we're at 34. Yes, good evening.
There we go. It's found, next account was 6050, technology replacement, found on page 76. Chairman Powers asked Representative Chase to move $98,949. Representative Gardner seconded. Make a motion to move $98,949.
All right, motion was moved by Powers S., seconded by Chase for account 6050, technology replacement. The account amount is $98,949. All right. you
There
can,
was, there was a small increase of $599, which is not very much, and we were very pleased with the way the program is going and how we're replacing our technology in a year increments, and things are coming in and coming out of the budget for items, and that it was in very good shape, the program itself. So we discussed that. We pretty much took a vote. It was 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. The motion
All right.
passed.
All right, so again, this account, 6050, is for $98,949. This was the manager's recommendation. The council approved that, and our committee approved that as well. So I open up the floor for any discussion on this account. Anyone has any questions? Yes, Representative Norris?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just two questions. If memory serves me, last year in computer replacement, there was a number of 65 that was budgeted to be replaced this year. Do you have an idea of how many was actually replaced?
Yeah, if we can invite Director Spellman up, please, thank you.
So I don't have a count as to exactly how many workstations were replaced, but all of the workstations that were up for replacement were in fact replaced this year. That number does change as positions are added or removed, so it may be a few more or a few less, but it should be around that number.
Thank you, and I'll stand up if I ask one more question.
Sure.
So I do notice in some other departments, and particularly in Parks and Recreation, there's a line that says computers. And I'm like, is that their replacement? Is that their annual maintenance fees? What would that be, if you know?
So the computer replacement fund is for existing workstations. If new personnel are added or if any changes to the technology plan are done in that department, then any new purchases will come out of their budget and then be brought into the computer replacement fund and budgeted appropriately.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on this account? Very well, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on account 6050, Technology Replacement Fund. The main motion on the floor is for $98,949. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. We have 34 members present now, 34-0-0. All right, and we are going to move on to the CIPs for this account, which can be found on CIP 7, page 242, 243, 245, and 246 coming up. We're going to do them one at a time, though.
Okay. Chairman Powers asked Representative Chase to move $220,000 for information technology infrastructure. It was seconded by Representative Fox. Move $220,000.
All right, motion was moved by Powers S., seconded by Chase for CIP 7A, Information Technology Infrastructure. The main motion on the floor is for $220,000.
The committee discussed the overall direction of the CIPs and the future assessments needed to continue to estimate the technology needs to keep our data safe and secure, the different types of infrastructures and the immediate needs, and how we can continue to build off of our CIP funding. We discussed the impact of AI and how it can be used or will be implemented into this type of CIP. There was 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstention.
All right, thank you, Chair Powers. And again, this was the adopted, approved number from Town Council as well. I open up the floor for this account, and Director Spellman, if you would want to summarize briefly about if anything to add to this commentary that Chair Powers had.
I think really the only thing that I want to bring up is what's on our radar is replacing some physical hardware. Windows Server 2016 is going to be end of life in January, so we're looking ahead to that. We're looking at shoring up our backups, making some changes, making them more resilient, and replacing some wireless access points as well around town that are getting older. And that'll be an ongoing project.
Great, thank you. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 7A, Information Technology Infrastructure in the amount of $220,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries 34-0. It's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Next category was enterprise resourcing planning. It's found on page 243. Chairman Powers asked Representative Fox to move $29,000. It was seconded by Representative Gardner. I move $29,000.
Motion was moved by Powers S., seconded by Gardner M. For CIP 7B, Enterprise Resource Planning, and the amount is $29,000. You may proceed.
Yeah, this category dealt with staff productivity tooling and dealing with user training and support. It also deals with procedures and sustainability planning, I believe. Is that correct? And the committee discussed various scenarios of how it is implemented and trained, so.
So primarily,
Guys, Director Spellman has the floor. Thank you.
primarily this is going to be used to implement patch management software. Keeping our software and hardware up to date is critical to protect the network. And right now that process is done manually and tracked manually. So we're looking into something to help automate that and give us better visibility into the network.
All right, great. Any other questions from the body on this? Yes, Representative Norris.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
So can you explain to me what the difference is between this CIP that we're speaking about and the previous one for the 220,000? Because they kind of have the same wording.
They're very similar, but CIP 7B, Enterprise Resource Planning, is productivity tools to help us do our job better, and CIP 7A is for the actual infrastructure, hardware and software that runs the town systems. So this is IT tools to help us manage that. It's different enough that it's segregated into its own CIP.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on this? Representative Weaver?
because of course it is an application, and it looks like this is a novel use, how will you rate its effectivity before we go forward to budget it for future years?
So right now, I'm actually evaluating a platform that allows 200 endpoints for free. So we're evaluating the software based on that initially. I'm sorry, we're evaluating the software based on free trials and free endpoints. We're allowed up to 200 licenses, so we're evaluating it in that manner.
I don't think you understood my question.
I don't, I'm sorry.
So with any software application, because as with any, there's different ones for every particular type of use. You're proposing to buy new software for use by the town to increase your productivity. As with anything else, there's several applications out there. So you're proposing this amount of money to use this application this year to use these funds, and it's budgeted out for the next 5 years. How will you rate how effective this application will be, and what do you think, what productivity will it increase or affect?
So the productivity that it will gain is in removing a lot of manual work in tracking patching on our endpoints and putting that in a central location. There's an endpoint that's there's an agent that's installed on endpoints, and that will report to a cloud server and let us know if it is missing patches, if there's a problem with it, if there were issues with running Windows updates and things like that. So we'll evaluate based on where the fleet is at, and the success of this application will be in ease of use and ensuring that all of our endpoints remain patched. If it doesn't patch our endpoints and the reporting is insufficient, then we're not going to continue using that application.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative Wells?
Not sure if this fits right in here or not, but I understand that the state of Connecticut uses a remote backup for their data in Massachusetts and also in the city of Groton. So I often wonder why are we turning to strangers when we can take advantage of services here in town.
I'm unaware of any colo space that's available to me at a reasonable price for backup. But this is a different kind of software that wouldn't be hosted in a colo center. Colo is colocation. It's a space outside of your buildings, somewhere where you rent space and you can put servers. That would be something that would be more related to CIP 7A if we were looking at colocation options for server storage. So.
And Director Spellman, I know I'm a little bit out of order. We're going to back up on that CIP 7A. The one that we just voted on isn't doing that colo?
Currently, no. We have no plans for that. If we did, it would be included in a CIP 7A. Yes.
Representative Weaver?
So my experience, because I have someone in my family that does IT. Normally you have IT technicians, there's a certain amount of units out in the field, you do patching on a regular basis. So how many IT technicians, how many systems need to be backed up on a regular basis manually? And if somebody is doing that now, what time saving is this going to take place if that's part of somebody's job?
So the part that is somebody's job is ensuring that the patches are applying properly, and that wouldn't necessarily be the IT technician. Patches are supposed to apply through policy, through group policy. They'll apply Windows updates regularly, but sometimes that process gets hung up, updates don't apply, and we don't have any visibility into that unless we're actually going and physically looking at the workstations for other reasons, and we see the patches aren't applying. So using a software that will let us know what the status is of that endpoint as far as if patches were applied will help us be more proactive about that.
And again, how many current IT technicians do we have, and how many systems does this impact?
We have about ballpark 500 endpoints, and we have 3 IT technicians and a systems administrator.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other discussion on the main motion on the floor? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 7B, Enterprise Resource Planning. The main motion on the floor is for $29,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Are there any abstentions? And we are still at 34 members, so that passes unanimously, 34-0. Thank you.
Okay, we're on to IT security, page 245. Chairman Powers asked Representative Gardner to move 45,000. It was seconded by Representative Fox. I move 45,000.
Motion was moved and seconded for CIP 7D, IT security. Moved by Powers S, seconded by Chase. The amount is 45,000.
45,000.
Yep, 45,000.
This was like a test application to security if the network is penetrated and how we react to the breach. The committee asked questions on the type of scenarios and how the network works and isolates and responds. This is also something that the bond rating looks at, is our security, our IT security. So 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstention. Motion passed.
All right. I open up the floor for any questions on this CIP. All right, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 7D, IT security. Rolls right off the tongue. The amount is $45,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no and raise your hand. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously, 34-0. Thank you.
Okay, last and least for me tonight is the police overhead paging system. It's found on page 246. Chairman Powers asked Representative Gardner to move 185,000. It was seconded by Representative Fox. I'd like to move 185,000.
Second.
All right, motion was moved by Powers S, seconded by Representative Gardner for CIP 7E, Police Overhead Paging System. The amount is $185,000.
Director Spellman gave us a brief overview of how that system works. The paging system is an outdated system. It's a safety feature. It's needed for our public and police officers to communicate directly to all if need to be responded within the building. The committee asks about the cost, the infrastructure of the building, you know, how things transport steel and concrete and why it's got to be wired, and along with the upgrades to the speakers and labor cost installations, all of that was discussed. So 4 voted in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstention. The motion passed for 185,000.
All right, thank you. Representative Aubry? You have to unmute, please. If you could just unmute your Zoom, please.
There we go. Can you
There we
hear me
go.
now?
Yes, I can hear you.
My first question was, is this for the entire building?
Yes.
Yes, this is for the entire police department building.
Okay. And am I right in the fact that the 911 is no longer on the main level, it's in the basement?
That is incorrect.
That is incorrect? Where is it?
Hold
we-
on one sec, we're going to get clarification on where it actually is.
So
Thank you.
the 911 center is on the main floor of the building. It's a large room. It can support, I believe, up to 8 dispatchers, it seems, at least up to 6. There is a backup station in the basement, which can support a 911 dispatcher, and the Emergency Operations Center is also in the basement of the building.
I'm sorry, the what?
The Emergency Operations Center is also in the basement of the building.
Isn't that 911?
No, they're separate functions.
Okay. Is it still open between the police department portion and the 911 portion?
Are you asking, is the building still open between the police department building and the 911 station?
Yes.
Yes, it is open. There are internal doors that have badge access, so some areas of the building are accessible to some folks, but they are primarily open.
Representative Overy, I have
We have
Chief
the-
Fasaro here,
Chief
so
Fasaro.
he can give you a better lay of the land.
Okay, that would be appreciated.
He's right here for you.
He got his shiny shoes on?
So, yeah, the 911 center's on the main, as you enter the building, is on the main floor. As Director Spellman said, downstairs, we do have a backup dispatch center that's really used for when we operate the Emergency Operations Center, either for a real emergency or for an exercise, which we do quite often. In fact, we're doing one next week for Millstone. Does that, your question about, that's all open space. If you're asking about the wall that used to be in there, yeah, that was taken down years ago. That no longer exists.
Okay. I had one other question, but it went right out of my head, so I think you're safe. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Oh, Representative Weaver?
Chief Azaro, if I may, could you, two questions. One, I know this is regarding the paging system, but as you're aware, locally, we've had in this last year some interruptions to the 911 system. So could you speak about the 911 system and if that per se needs to be upgraded, or was the reason for that? And second, can you speak to why you think it's important for this to be upgraded?
Sure, they're totally separate. They're not interrelated. The 911 system is run by the state of Connecticut. We're part of that system. Sometimes it does go down and we have to transfer calls elsewhere. Conversely, other times, other 911 centers will transfer them to us when their places go down. So that's kind of outside the scope of our ability to control. It's all infrastructure that's built and paid for by the state.
Well, I just wanted to ask that so that our people could
Sure.
learn through the meeting, so thank you.
Sure. As far as this paging system, I'll tell you, when I first became chief almost 11 years ago, it's hard for me to believe that, but a while ago, we had a paging system and it worked fine. But I believe when the town went to voice over internet protocols for our phone system, we lost that feature because it is intertwined with that old. It's something that we don't have. I've had it, in other facilities I've worked in my law enforcement career. It's important to have because if there's a critical incident, if there's something going on in the building, and it does happen, there's times, hey, we need somebody into the cell block because something's happening back there. You need to be able to page. You need to get the people that are inside. Or if they're at roll call, critical incident happens, we can put it out right from dispatch. Officers will leave right away. And sometimes it's a convenience factor, right? If I'm looking for somebody in the building, hey, can you come to the chief's office, which I'm sure they don't want to hear. But it'll save me from looking at every nook and cranny in the building. But there's a lot of reasons for it. It's certainly it's a need. It's been a need for quite some time, and we've talked about it before at length.
And when was the last time it was updated?
Say again?
When was the last time it was updated?
Well, like I said, there was an older, so within the last 11 years, we've gone to that new VoIP system. I don't know when that was. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know we've had it for several years, and we've lost that capability certainly in the last 5 years, if not longer. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
Thank you for the information, and thank you for our service to the community.
Well, thanks for the support.
Representative Massett?
Good evening, Chief. Just a quick question. The overhead paging system, is that separate from the upgrade with the Board of Education?
Upgrade with the Board of Education. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Is that the other CIP that we'll be acting on as well, Representative Massett?
Yeah, no, this is exclusive just to our building, to our facility alone.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, any other discussion on the main motion? All right, very well. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 7E, Police Overhead Paging System. The main motion on the floor is for $185,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no.
No.
That was, am I, are you retracting your no? I gotta.
No, yes, I am.
Okay, he is, Powers S is a yes vote. Got me all tricked up. Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. I did not say Simon says. All right.
Real no or not? Was that real?
All right, thank you, Chair Powers, for doing those accounts. I will now recognize Chair Perella of Community Development and Services. We've got 2 accounts and a CIP to tend to this evening. If you could just give us the minutes. Thank you, Director Spellman, and thank you to your staff for all the good work. Appreciate it.
What'd you say we were
Well, it
doing
was in
now?
order. The question is, will you still love me tomorrow? Hopefully. Okay. The Town of Groton Representative Town Meeting, Community Development and Services Committee minutes. We met on call to order by Andrew Perella, Chair, at 6:02 p.m. on the date of April 23rd at the Town Hall Annex, Community Room Number 1. Present were Andrew Perella, Chair, David Hume, Representative Caden, Representative Morgan, and Representative Weaver. Absent were Representative DeGraffenreich, Representative Keniston, and Representative Matter. Quorum was declared. Also present were Town Manager Burt, library staff of the Groton Public Library, and the Bill Memorial Library, and the Mystic Noank Library. The minutes are cut up because we're doing partially a different portion of the minutes tonight. So we will now skip to number 10630, and that can be found on page 144. Okay, Representative Weaver moved a figure of $2,003,738. That was seconded by Representative Cadden, and it was unanimously in favor with no abstentions. Before the staff comments and questions, do you need a?
You can make the motion, please.
Okay, so I'll make the motion for that figure.
Second. All right, motion was moved by Chair Perella, seconded by Zazulka for account 1063 Groton Public Library in the amount of $2,003,738. All right, you can go ahead and.
Okay.
Thank you.
Some of the discussion ensued were about contractual increases and the insurance increases that have taken place. Also was discussed were donations and the increases in community disasters such as fires, and then some of the programs that the library does, and I won't get into all the details. If we have staff here, they can do that, such as the Circle of Friends, the community partnerships. The staff has 40 full-time staff members and 23 part-time staff members. They also have benefactors, endowments that they receive, and they also do marketing, such as the annual Bumpers and Books program, which has been very successful. And I don't know if Jennifer, I forgot to mention that Jennifer Miele was there also, and I don't know if she's here.
Yeah, if you could come down, Director Miele.
Didn't mean to speak for you. So, okay, just try to cover all of it. I tend to do detailed minutes, so. And did you want to comment further on some of that?
I just want to clarify, we have 40 total staff. We have 17 full-time and 23 part-time, so.
Thanks for that clarification.
Representative Weaver, is that a hand up?
Yes.
Okay.
Could you tell the full RTM the importance of the increase relative to the insurance, which wasn't provided before?
Actually, that was the other thing I'd like to rectify. It wasn't, nothing about insurance.
Oh.
The only thing that has changed, or the increase, is related to contractual, union contractual, for full-time staff. And then the annual minimum wage, state minimum wage, has gone up, and it continues. So those two items are what is increasing the budget.
And Director Mealy, it's roughly $80,000 in employee personnel costs and a
Correct.
fraction of an increase, $100 or something on
For operating, exactly.
All right, any other discussion? Representative Aubrey?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I'll preface it by the fact that I hear all the time what a great job you're doing. So I thank you for that.
Rep. Aubrey, can you try to adjust your microphone, or I'm having a tough time hearing?
Is that any better?
Not really. Just yell at us, okay? How about just yell at us? We'll know that you're doing it in good faith.
Yeah, okay. I've had a few people questioning me about the book purchases. Have you had to cut back on that?
Have you had to cut back on any book purchases?
We have not. The only thing that's changed with book purchasing is our longtime vendor for many, many years went bankrupt. And so this past year, the only challenge has been we've had to convert to a different vendor. And while it seems pretty simple, we have 150,000 books on our shelves. So, you know, we do buy a lot of materials. So changing a vendor basically in a couple weeks is quite a situation. But that's the only thing that has changed for book collection.
Okay, if somebody comes to the library and requests a certain book, if you don't have it, are you able to work on the share program and locate it for them?
Absolutely. In fact, our sister libraries, which are Bill Memorial and Mystic and Noank Library and Waterford Public Library, we share a system. And so we share, that's the first stop, is we share there first. So if we don't have something, we ask them if we can borrow, which they happily send over, and we do the same. And then the next order of business is we can go statewide, and that's part of the Borrow It program, that we have that ability to share with other public libraries in the state. So,
Do you find any problem when something's brand new that you don't have being able to get it?
no. Unless it's out of stock somewhere, but if it's a new book, they usually do have that available at multiple sources.
Okay. I'm just asking these questions. I live in an area where everybody reads, I think, but me. And I've had a couple people express a little bit of disrespect, whatever I'm trying to say. And so I wanted to speak to you about it, so I'll have a better answer to them. But if they're frustrated with something, who should they speak to?
Well, I would be happy to speak with them. I do want to mention as well, we take patron requests very seriously. So even if we don't have it on the shelf for whatever means, or for sharing purposes, you can submit a request either in person on the phone or by our website, and ask what you would like to see on our shelves, and we'd be happy to look into that and purchase it for the collection. So, just as a side note.
You're muted again. Somehow. Oh, we can't hear you. No, I'm sorry. You could mime out the question if you want. Yes, just like that. Just mime it, and we'll get it. Charades, R.T.M. charades, that would be something. We'd be here all night. All right. Is there anyone else's online that's not, microphone's not working, or is this just on her end? Representative Massick, can you give me a hello? I think it's something else because she's trying as well. Representative Fox is muted too.
Are you muted?
If we can just, yeah, we are able to hear Rep. Obry online, but we are not able to hear her here. Hold on one sec, we'll try to get that sorted. And while we do, it's a kind of an off-topic question or comment on my end. I'd like to thank you for working so hard. I've been getting all those emails about Groton 250, and I know you and your staff have been working really hard. One of the things that I guess I wanted to bring up is that they're looking for someone to be the Grand Marshal of the 4th of July
4th of July
parade this
parade,
year.
correct.
And if you could share with the group how they could nominate someone or how they can access that to possibly nominate
Absolutely.
someone?
In fact, I was going to do a shameless plug to have people, ensure that you go to our website. On the town website, there is a page devoted to the Groton Mystic 250 committee. It's got a calendar full of events at both Mystic and Bill and our library, plus our community partners are on that as well. And the 4th of July parade information can be found there as well as on the Parks and Rec sites. We're going big this year with floats, et cetera. So we'd love to have you participate if you're not walking. If you're not participating in being an audience member, we'd love to have you at least submit something. We're looking for Grand Marshal for the parade. And if you want to try to get together a float, you can submit float ideas. So we'd love to have you participate if you haven't already. July 4th, be there.
All right, before I take any other questions, I'm just trying to make sure that I see that Representative Fox's mic's hot. Can you all hear me online right now?
Raise your hands.
Raise your hand. Yes, Representative Doty, thank you. But we can't hear you, all right? So we're just, I know our tech guru is trying to figure this out. I guess that's why we approved all this funding tonight, right? To make sure that we can get all this going. But if I don't want to continue on unless we get these folks online. So if it's not going to happen in the next minute, we're just going to take a quick recess. So then, and we'll come back to this account. Okay, all right. I'm going to call for a recess then until we can get this IT glitch sorted, okay? Thank you. All right, we're back. Tech issues resolved for the most part. There's one thing that I just need to ask everybody, if possible. If you're speaking on the microphone, can you please pick up the microphone and speak into it? We're having some difficulty with folks hearing in the back of the room and online, so I'll try to use my serious voice and make sure that everybody can hear me. So if you could do the same, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right, I'm going to turn it back over. We were on Groton Public Library account. The amount is $2,003,738, and I will turn it back over to the chair and Director Mealy so we can get any more information about that budget.
Great. I think most of the questions that I had were answered during the meeting. One of them that I thought should be noted was that our public library, when it was built years ago, is a very highly used, what do I want to say? Regional, thank you, whoever's helping, regional facilities. So when we look at the funding for the library, I think we need to take into consideration the amount of use for what you're getting for the price that you're paying is pretty phenomenal. And just a personal comment, you know, the 4.2%, which you're getting back with funds that would go to the library through possible grants. I think we talked about that at the meeting. That's something to note. Thank you for the correction on the staffing. When I was trying to do the secretary and the chairman, I kind of wrote things down, so I apologize for that. And then the benefactors, I think we talked about some endowments. And then you're doing, I think, a marketing campaign now. Was there some type of marketing going on with the Bumpers and Books program? I remember that was discussed a little bit.
So we have a number of annual programs. If you didn't already attend, we have annual Earth Day event every year, and Bumpers and Books, which is a trunk or treat program. We had like over 850 people attend that last year in October. And then, of course, we always have our annual summer reading program for all ages. So yeah, we do have a number of annual programs along with our weekly programs that we have for early literacy and 250th programming, et cetera. So we'd love to have you come.
Great. And the other note was the video production facility, which is done through this portion of the budget, also needs to be notated for the background on that.
You mean for Groton Municipal Television?
Well, for the background on the library, in their data that they put in there, the library's local history, and the data that you preserve in there.
Yes. We could probably speak about that on
The other
Borrow It.
one. Okay.
The
that's
next,
fine.
the
Yeah,
next.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion on the main motion on the floor? Is that a hand up or a mouth yawn? I don't know. All right. Thank you. You have the floor, Representative Weaver.
Living in Groton for going on almost 3 decades now and raising 2 children here, I just have to tell you that with places for our children to go to getting less and less available, the Groton Public Library is always a safe adventure from home. You can use their computers. It's currently a warming and cooling center for homeless people or people in need, and the people you go in and see, they're always welcoming and smiling, and it's just such a refreshing, wonderful place to have in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Representative Zazulka.
Thank you. As the founder of the Groton Education Foundation, which is a private foundation, it is not connected with the Groton Public School System. We are about 25 years now we've been in existence. I just have to also commend the staff members, the current staff members, and even the past staff members, because when they apply to us for grants, they're always well-written, they're creative, and they contain the diversity that we're looking for. And so I am just like so proud that I live in this community and that we have such a library that we do have, and how fortunate we are to have the Groton Public Library. So of course I support the motion that's on the floor wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the main motion? Very well, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on account 1063, Groton Public Library. The amount is $2,003,738. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Any abstentions? I just want to get a right count here. I have 33 right now. Am I missing someone? I have 34. All right, it was a 34 vote when we made the vote, and now we have Representative Umritz here, so we're at 35 now, okay? So we got a good count. So the count is 34-0. Umritz just got in, so now, yeah, but she wasn't here for the vote, so we're at 35. Okay. All right. Signal 14. All right, thank you. Next one, 3310, please, Chair.
Okay, the 3310 can be found on page 148. It's called Borrow at Connecticut. Excuse me. This particular number was kind of by consensus, so we reviewed the tape. The town manager was kind enough to review the tape. Apparently, in our steadfast discussion ensued before we actually made a motion. So what we'd like to do, with your indulgence, is present the figure here right now, which the committee kind of did by consensus, so it's all technically correct, of $48,000. So I'm going to move $48,000 for borrow.
Second.
All right, motion was moved by Chair Perella, seconded by Zazulka. The account is 3310, borrow ITCT, in the amount of $48,000. I open the floor for discussion. If you have any materials you'd like to provide, Chair, on this vote.
So what I wrote down was some of the details of the public card to Connecticut libraries, which I'm going to have the staff describe in more detail, but just what I notated was it's done by number of transactions to the lending library, and then the state budget is decreasing the grant by 20%. I don't know if that's, at the time the meeting was, that was what was presented. I don't know if that's changed. And then the spending on technology, such as laptops and outside funding, and they also have a grant, I think that was mentioned about a grant for an archivist, and I'm not sure on what's going on with that.
So the Borrow It program is a state cooperative reimbursement program. It allows public libraries to share with each other, and you are able to borrow materials from any public library. That's what your public library card can do for you. Anyway, so we get, the state has a ratio that they look at the end of the year, and that ratio, they divvy up money, and it goes to the public libraries in the state of Connecticut. Groton happens to be a top lender, net lender. We're in the top 5. So we receive more money than most other libraries do. And it's typically been in the last 5 to 6 years, about $20,000. We never know the number. We have to kind of make a guess just because their budgets are not done by the time I come here. So anyway, we utilize this grant or this money for the extras. It can only be used for libraries. It cannot go into the general fund. So we have used this in the past for things like servers and other technology needs that tend to be very expensive. And rather than putting them, say, in a CIP, we utilize this money for those we This particular year, we we are purchasing a new server for the library. And the other thing is to continue funding a temporary grant-funded archivist position, which is in our local history room. This person works up to 18 hours a week, and they are getting our local history room organized and cataloged and digitized. So, and amongst other things. We're very fortunate to have this person for the community. So that's what we're planning on utilizing the funding for this year.
If I'm not mistaken, don't you also use a portion of some of the funds as a gesture to pay off people's past due fees for people who can't afford it?
So we don't do that, but there was after COVID happened, there was a national library movement to absolve fines, not damaged books or lost books, but fines, the nickel and diming of the 10 cents. Because nationally, they saw this as a barrier for people who could not afford, to pay their fines. So that was removed, and we have stuck with that, and frankly, we're getting our books back on time. Believe it or not, it has really helped people, and it is also, we see the items coming back more than we did before, because people were afraid to come into the library for fines. This is not for lost books or damaged books. Those we have to assess fees for. So.
Any other discussion on the main motion on the floor? All right, very well. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote on 3310, borrow ITCT. Main motion on the floor is for $48,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, please say no or raise your hands. Are there any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously, 35-0. All right, thank you very much. And do we have one more for CIP?
Yep, to CIP 7G, page 248. And that was moved, 50,000 was moved by Representative Cadden and seconded by Representative Morgan, unanimously in favor with no abstentions. So I will move that figure.
Can you say that number again, please,
Sure.
Chair Perrella?
50,000.
Second.
Okay, motion was moved by Chair Perrella, seconded by Adams. For CIP 7G, Town Meeting Room AV Presentation Equipment Replacement Upgrades. The amount is 58,000?
50, 50,000.
55,000.
No, 50. 50,000. Maybe my microphone's too low. Wait a minute. There we go.
All right. Okay, I open it up to you, sir.
And there was a kind of a discussion by, I believe, Mr. Greeley, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And he described what the good thing about this is that he's doing it in yearly increments. So we're not getting all of it at one time. So he's planning the budget out. So in 2028, 2027, 2028, and then 2029. I can't believe we're saying those numbers already. And then 2030, you'll have, and 31, you'll have incremental increases, which will help this video and system, which we definitely need some improvement on, take place, and you'll have it in your CIP budgets from years coming up.
All right, and I would like to say, we do have Sean online, and, I thank you and your staff. You guys are always running around and Control-Alt-Deleting and doing all that other stuff that, try to get us going and work out all the glitches. So thank you for putting this long-term plan in place so we, as members, can see the light at the end of the tunnel. All right. Any other discussion on the main motion on the floor? Very well. Seeing none, I will call for a vote on CIP 7G, Town Meeting Room AV Presentation Equipment Replacement Upgrades. The amount on the floor is $50,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, all those opposed, please say no or raise your hands. Rep. Cadden, are you a no or a yes? Oh, she's a yes, okay. And any
I'm a
abs-
yes, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay, I just wanted to be sure. And then any abstentions? Okay, motion carries unanimously, 35-0. Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right, and if you can keep us posted, Director Mealy, on anything for 250 that we might need to know, I'll be happy to share it with all the RTM so they can get involved. All right, thank you. All right, chugging along here. We have two more items to act on this evening, and then we can go. I'm going to recognize our Chair of Public Safety, Representative Allen, and he'll be dealing with our department account and a CIP. And we have Chief Fasaro over here to discuss that.
All right, thank you much. Public Safety Committee, we met. We had myself, Representatives Adams, Doty, Gardner, and Spotton. During the course of the meeting, a motion was made by Representative Adams, seconded by Gardner, for account 1024 in the amount of $11,818,557.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by the Chair, Allen, seconded by Powers S., and we are on account 1024.
It's on page 103.
Page 103 in the big book, and the amount is 11,818. Oh. Listen, I got some executives here. They're going to arrest me. I apologize profusely.
I have nothing to do with this.
All right. Can't live life without having a little humor in it, so thank you. Oh,
Until you're
gosh, you
driving
got me
your
all
car.
flustered now. All right. $11,818,557. All right, Mr. Chair.
All righty, so during the course of our meeting, Chief made a great presentation. That amount is a $399,684 increase, which represents 3.5%. It is primarily, as nobody is going to be surprised, the personnel costs, which is about $10.75 million of it, leaving operations being roughly $1 million. It was a 5-0 vote, 5-0-0, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Chair. Short and sweet, I like it. I open up the floor for discussion on this account. Representative Aubrey, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask a question. I apologize for I'm just kind of skimming this, but in what account do we put new automobiles?
That's in the Public Works account. It's not part of our budget.
Okay, Public Works.
Was there anything else, Rep. Aubrey?
Is there anything else that you can think of offhand that goes into somebody else's budget?
Yeah, our, post-employment benefits goes into HR, insurance goes into HR, building account, like any infrastructure that happens goes into Public Works. Yeah, we get a reimbursement from the Board of Ed for 2 school resource officers.
I apologize, I'm not sure, you say it goes into, could you say that again, please?
Which Well, so building, so we don't pay, facilities is all out of the Public Works budget, fleet is out of the Public Works budget, computers are out of the IT budget. Primarily, what we pay for is people, equipment, stuff that we need to do our job. Our operating budget takes, what's about 9%, but that's, you know, that's everything from equipment, infrastructures, well, stuff that we need unique to police. But facilities, again, that's done by Public Works. Fleet's done by Public Works, and post-employment, insurance, that sort of stuff is done by Human Resources.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
No complaints about your service.
All right, I have Rep. Norris and Rep. Perella. Did you have your hand up?
I just wanted to commend you. Thank you very much, HR department and town manager, because it appears that your force is fully staffed, which is extremely rare.
That is not correct. We are not.
Well,
But thank you for the kind sentiments. I wish that were correct.
I'm looking at this, it says you 92 folks.
That's what we're authorized for staffing. We're not fully staffed. We have some vacancies in both our
Then I
dispatch center.
because your
and-
estimates say.
Yeah, it
you
had
have
me feeling good
92.
there for a second.
I know, I'm like reading this stuff and I go, they got 92 estimates, that's
No,
pretty
and
good.
unfortunately, and to be, you know, not to editorialize too much, but that is the sign of the times in law enforcement today. Last 2 days, I've been at meetings with my colleagues from across the state with our annual Connecticut Police Chiefs. Recruiting and retention are a big problem right now in law enforcement nationwide.
So you kind of led me to this. So if we are not fully staffed, it appears that we are only $1 million shy for estimates versus adjusted budget. Can you explain that, please?
When you say $1 million shy, I mean, we're about where we should be right now. You know, those estimates were done back in January, or prior to that, usually end of the year. We do it at the end of the calendar year when we're developing this before I go meet with the town manager. We're about where we should be as far as the budget goes. But what I always explain to folks, when you're fully staffed, your overtime account goes down. When you're not fully staffed, your overtime account goes up. And that some of those funds get transferred from one to the other, meaning, yeah, and we do have, we have considerable amounts of training. You know, police officers have always been required to do some sizable amounts of training. In more recent years, we've certainly increased that substantially. So there's many times when our officers aren't on patrol or aren't doing their detective work, or even our dispatchers who are out in the dispatch center, because there's mandatory training that they have to do. And frankly, we don't meet just the minimum standards. I think that is a recipe for disaster. If you're just doing enough and just getting by, then your officers and personnel are really trained to a minimum standard, which I don't endorse. We've been fortunate that we do most of our training in-house, because we have people that have gone to some pretty sophisticated training that allows us to do the train the trainer, train our own officers on many things. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Chief Fasaro, we still are accredited in CALIA too?
We are. We actually just went through our first review for the advanced accreditation. We were initially, we're both state accredited, Tier 3 state, but we're one of the few departments in the state of Connecticut that is CALIA accredited, and we'll be an even smaller group that's advanced accredited. There's only, I think there's, Deputy Chief's here, there's maybe 24 CALIA accredited agencies in the state of Connecticut, and I believe there's only a handful, maybe 2 or 3 that are advanced accredited.
Very good, thank you. I had Representative Perella next.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I just wanted to comment a couple things that I noticed real quickly. And one of them was the fiscal year 2025 and then 2026-27. Honestly, it seems like you're really keeping your budgets fairly tight. When you look at, say, if you go under the criminal investigations, that went up a little bit, but that would, of course, probably be because you may have different types of crimes or activities that you have to put the focus on. And I have to say, all of the police in the city and the town, they do an excellent job. And I'm excited because I know that you have been expanding up in the northwestern part. I'm trying to do my picture in my head. Northwestern, northern part of the town near the bridge. And I think that's exciting with the substation, and I was excited last year about it because then the increased patrol there, especially with the bridge, but people coming in to the town, you can probably take care of things before they get out of control. And also, there's been several other things that have been happening, with incidents of bank robberies and things that we don't like to talk about, things like that. And I think that you all have been, both the city and the town have been very on top of that, and that's to be commended. And of course, I've made my phone calls to the chief occasionally and the town manager about areas of town, that we're hoping to see more patrols. And already I saw more patrols after a few meetings ago of people being stopped for traffic violations, especially during the business district in the proper. And it's really important that we have the proper covered, because that's where the people are going to come in and, they want to stay in the area with all the new businesses. So I'm really happy to see that, and I commend you for that. And the other question was on state or federal grants. Have you seen any decreases in federal or state, or increases?
Well, no, in fact, we've applied for some recently. We've benefited from some grants. In fact, last year we were awarded a grant that we have not been able to take advantage of, and that grant, I work with Superintendent Austin, but there's a grant out there that we have received from the federal government for 2 additional school resource officers, which sounds great, and we're happy about it. However, you can't supplant, which means we need to fill some of those positions that we just talked about before we can do that. So I'm hopeful that that can be accomplished. There are still grants out there. There's not as many as there were, post 9/11. There was a lot of grants that we could get all kinds of stuff, equipment. Now it's really based on, there are some COPS Fast grants, that one was specific to school resource officers. But we've applied for some other ones. We recently applied for some for technology to maybe support some things, the infrastructure that we need for cameras in certain areas, not speed cameras, none of that sort of stuff, but stuff that would enable our officers to, if there's a crime that occurs, they'd be able to detect that, they'd be able to see it. But right now, there's just not as many grants as there have been in the past, but there's still some out there.
Thank you.
Representative Pulaski, followed by Zazulka.
Hi, thank you for all you do. I see you are doing a lot of training, largely with guns. Is your department doing any conflict de-escalation training? And if so, would a grant help if you haven't been able to do much?
Well, thanks. Is that a setup? Because the grant, one of those grants that we got was for $250,000 for crisis intervention training, which we're utilizing now. So we received that a year and a half ago. So yes, we've been doing that. We've been utilizing it, and that is a federal grant that our department was awarded. So I failed to mention that a moment ago, but we do have a grant that we're using.
I just wanted to be sure that we didn't do just more and better ways of killing the citizens,
Well, I will take exception to that. Our officers do everything that they can to avoid that. In fact, our officers are pretty. I've been in this business a long, long time, and I worked for the state police for 22 years. I say this, I use this phrase often. I say this behind their back, so I'll say this on the record. Our officers that do training do exceptional training, and I've had the privilege to work with some really good trainers throughout my career, both here in Connecticut and outside of the state. I can tell you with a high degree of certainty, the folks that we have do use of force training are probably the best in the state, and here's why. I'm not just going to say that and embellish it. I'm going to tell you facts. The fact is, we have officers. We have a use of force team that provides, whenever we have a use of force incident, they do a detailed analysis. They look at body-worn camera footage, they look at reports, they look at all the data available to them, and they do a deep analysis. And the reason they're so good is because we have one of the few officers here in the state that has completed not just basic, but advanced Force Science Institute training, which is a rarity. That is the gold standard for doing this type of analysis. And what we do, and we don't just look at our stuff, we look at stuff that's happened elsewhere in the country to use that as a teachable moment for our officers. In fact, right now, not at this moment, but this week and the last several weeks, some of our officers have been doing training at a facility here in town that utilize not just de-escalation techniques, but new use of piece of equipment. You'll see this in the budget. We had an increase, and I highlighted it in some areas. We utilize Axon. Axon is the company that we buy not just our body cameras from, but it's kind of a holistic system, our in-car cameras, but they also provide tasers. Everybody familiar with what a taser is? Mm-hmm. It's an electronic conduction weapon, and what it does is if you do need to use force, it's a critical tool that's a less lethal force option. Our officers, every one of them, because we went to a new taser, the latest and greatest platform, When we bought the system, not only did we get new pieces of equipment, but we also got a training platform that included virtual reality goggles and virtual reality training that every one of our officers is going through for not just a couple of hours, but 2 consecutive days in order to get certified on that. So, you know, any officer that encounters someone and has an unfortunate incident where they have to use force, it's a life-changing event for not just them, but the officer as well. So I don't want to take credit for that. I'm telling you, our trainers do a great job, and that's a credit to them. And we want that to continue. And it goes back to the point where if we're just achieving minimum standards and doing the minimum amount, I don't think that does a service to our community, and it doesn't do a service to our officers, because it puts them in the unenviable position of not having the best training and the best equipment they need to do their job, so that we hopefully avoid.
Thank you. Chief, back in the 80s or 90s, my classroom was used as a prototype here at Groton for the DARE program, the Drug Awareness and Resistance Education. And that program no longer exists.
Oh, it does. We
Oh,
still
it does?
Yes, yep,
Oh,
certainly does.
I thought it had been eliminated. Well, where would that be? Where would that fall in your budget?
That's under our community policing unit, so that's part of that. That's incorporated into that budget.
Okay.
So it's part of community policing. We have 2 officers right now that go out and teach that. They go to the middle school. They come over here. They do it and
Okay.
spend time at the elementary school as well. But that's in the community policing budget.
And I thought it had been eliminated. And when I looked back on it, I just happened to find it this week, and, you know, only one of my students got caught. I mean, not got caught, but I looked at all the kids that went through the program, and one of them had difficulty in life, and so, you know, but it was quite successful.
It has evolved, quite frankly. I mean, it's no longer just say no. And there are some other things, in fact, that we've been looking at, some other programs that are out there nationally, LEAD, a couple others. But it's really about, in my mind, it does 2 things. Not just, it isn't just about drugs, it's about making good choices. You know, it talks, you know, you have an officer that has a lot of that training, but also has what I would suggest is a pretty good role model for most kids. And hopefully, we're still teaching it. Hopefully, it's still effective. I think it is.
Okay, I was misinformed. And I just want to thank you. I knew your dad from NFA, and they say the apples don't fall far from the tree. And so I understand what you're doing. Thank you for being here.
I'll mention that, yeah. It's the family business for us, but I will certainly tell them that. And I'm trying to hold up that standard if I'm so fortunate to do that.
Representative Weaver, followed by Powers S.
Chief Massaro, thank you for what you and your staff does. Just a few points, and as far as the recruitment, I notice you've been having some recruitment events, and I know the governor is trying to help that with proposing some free education, and I hope that's really effective, but our officers now have to endure a lot more than they used to before. My only question, as far as the budget, was what 10248, the criminal investigation evidence, that's the only one that seemed to increase, so I have a question about that. But my other question, obviously, is you were talking about the body cameras, and we've been having a lot of incidents on our bridge lately, unfortunate incidents. And I know that normally police records are redacted for individuals, but I just was curious in this setting, what is the protocol for releasing the police cam video to the news media, because it sometimes violates HIPAA?
Well, HIPAA doesn't apply to law enforcement. HIPAA applies in a medical setting, and we're not medical providers. You know, there are standards that we have to adhere to. There's public information. When I tell you I get FOIA requests every day, I get FOIA requests every day, and it's a burden. It's a lot of work. We have one person do it, and quite frankly, he's not going to be with us much longer. But there are standards. It's public information. We have to release certain pieces of information. Many times, things will get requested and asked for for a variety of different reasons, and we do have to go through that analysis to see if there's a legal exemption from it. If we're not sure, we'll contact the town attorney, or quite frankly, we'll many times contact the FOIA commission itself and say, hey, what are the parameters? Do we have to release this? There's Connecticut general statutes that govern certain things in law enforcement that were prohibited from releasing because of different reasons, things that aren't known to the general public as far as law enforcement. But when I will say when our officers do some great work, we never see it. Rarely do you see the great work our officers do. Rarely do you see it. And I tell new officers when they start, the biggest successes and the best times of your career will probably be unwitnessed by anyone. You won't be getting a medal pinned upon your chest. They won't be out in the news media. But there'll be that internal source of pride because you did something to help somebody that will leave an impact on you and that person. When officers do great work, and we've had some officers do it recently that do some, I believe that they should be recognized because I think ultimately it's going to help other people. And I think it pays. I'm sick of seeing officers painted in a bad light. I'm really tired of it.
Yes.
And I've had enough of that. I've been doing this a long time, take tremendous pride, not just in our department, but in my profession. So anytime an officer does something good, I want to highlight that if we can. And we don't do it enough. And I say that, I've got Captain McCarthy and Deputy Chief Gately, and we sit in our office and do all kinds of work, and sometimes we don't even, I say this painfully, we don't notice the great things our folks do. We may not be aware of it. So I want to highlight the good things that people do.
No, I have to say you've personally helped me in situations, and as a domestic violence advocate, I just want the community to know that they can go to Groton City or Groton Town, anyone that's having an issue, that you guys keep confidences,
Absolutely.
you provide service references, and anyone who thinks they can't talk to someone can go to you freely for help.
And that would be a perfect example of things that we can't release. We can't release the names of a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault or things of that. We don't release that stuff. That's prohibited from law. That's to protect people, to make sure that they're not afraid to come into the police and report. And to some extent, Connecticut, I've been asked, there's not to engage in the whole debate that's going on nationally, but we do have the Trust Act here in Connecticut, and the whole idea of the Trust Act is that people want to be able to trust the police, regardless of what their background or status is. They should be able to come in and say, hey, I'm a victim of something, I need your help, and not be fearful that something could happen to them. That's not what we're about. That's not our mission. Our mission is to help people in this community. If they're the victim of a crime, we want to help them.
Just one more thing relative to the bridge with the 2 recent suicide attempts, and they seem to be in the general vicinity, and with the ongoing construction, has there been any thought given to how to reinforce those areas or monitoring those areas to prevent that? That's one question.
Sure.
But hand in hand with all of this construction that's backing up Bridge Street, and it's backing up in the bridge, and there's been multiple accidents already and on 88 to 90, obviously that's going to impact your resources and the town's resources as far as being available. And if you're already short-staffed, I had mentioned to the town manager, I see that Connecticut's looking at DOT cameras, and John was going to give us an update if that's going to apply on the bridge, because I personally think we can get a lot of revenue from tourism. And if we don't do something to get this traffic under control, there's going to be fatalities, which I'm unfortunately not looking forward to.
So I can speak to that briefly if it's permissible.
Absolutely, sir.
So this afternoon, 2 o'clock this afternoon, I had a meeting in my office with a representative for DOT for addressing this. This project will impact the town. I don't speak for DOT. I no longer speak for the state police either, and a lot of the stuff that happens on the highway is really the purview of the state police when it comes to traffic accident investigations, incidents that happen on the highway. However, that we're a partner, and we will get involved when we need to. We'll provide assistance. There will be tremendous impact. This afternoon, I had to go over the bridge about 4 o'clock myself, and I waited in traffic with everybody else. There are cameras up there. In fact, our dispatch center has a link to them now as of effective this morning. There are cameras up there. There's some other tentative plans for some other possibilities to address it. One of the things that, and you may hear me come and talk to this body about it in the future, is a program called Drone as a First Responder. And if you look it up, you'll be able to see what that is. I'm really high on that because in times where we're diminishing our staffing is suffering, it's to get eyes on an incident, to maybe prevent further incidents happening. And here's what I mean. If we have a drone and it's the future, it's the way things are going, it's not to spy on people, it's not to check inside their house, it's very limited use. If there's a critical incident that happens, a crash on the bridge, how do we get somebody up there? Because the confusion that we're having now as a public safety enterprise as it relates to that, is how we're going to get emergency services up there. And that is partially my responsibility. The fire service is the ones that's going to go out there. Ambulance service, whether it's Groton Ambulance, Mystic River. Similarly, my colleagues on the London side have similar questions about, hey, we want to get emergency services up there, and if they're calling 911 to our dispatch center and our dispatchers are sending out Groton City Fire, Pequannock Bridge, or any of the fire services, we want to make sure we get them up there quickly but safely too, because there's going to be crossovers. Part of that answer is the cameras. Like I said, we just got access to them this morning. There's some other plans, and we, when I say we, I mean public safety agencies here in Groton and on the other side of the bridge have been meeting regularly with the Department of Transportation, with their contractors, with the people that are providing all, the engineers. We're having public safety exclusive meetings, including one early next week that we're going to have for our dispatchers to kind of get a handle on what their duties are going to be in these inevitable events, which are going to happen. There's going to be accidents. There's going to be events that happen up there. So there's been a lot of discussion. There's been a lot of work, and it's not an exclusive. It's certainly not an exclusive problem to us. There's a whole bunch of different teams that are available and involved in this planning. There's a lot going on. You hit something that's timely and certainly is an important topic.
Well, the reason I asked is because I know a lot of our citizens maybe don't come to these meetings, but now that it's recorded and everybody has concerns, so thank you very much for all of that feedback.
Oh, you're welcome.
Before I go down my list, I got Powers S, then followed by Frickman. And I know it's going to be a tough situation for the next 5-ish years or more with that situation. And I had heard from DOT that they were going to stage up tow trucks on both sides of the span. Yes. I don't know if it's been discussed, and I'm just throwing my twin pennies out there, as I cross over in Providence to East Providence on 195, and there's a kerfuffle on the George Washington Bridge. They have troopers posted on both sides to try to expedite all of those situations. So I don't know if that's a thought by the Connecticut State Troopers for that.
They're again, I don't speak for them,
Sure.
but that is part of the plan. I don't believe it's going to be 24/7, but there will be an increased presence there. I think they built that into their plan.
Right.
And like anything, I think that no one's going to understand the reality of it and what maybe the best practice really is until this occurs on the 30th, by the way. They did change the date. It was supposed to be the 26th, but it's the 30th.
All right.
My other question is, because I had an accident on the bridge, and is there any way during this construction that the lighting can somehow be increased? Because with the cones and everything else, it gets very difficult now that the lanes are merging, and I know that's DOT, but maybe a consideration.
Yeah, I believe inevitably there probably will be because there's construction, but I don't know what their lighting scheme is going to be for this. Although the Army made the mistake of putting me in the Corps of Engineers for a couple of years, I'm not an engineer. There's a lot of smart people that are working on it. They've got, like I said, we've got people coming to talk to us on Monday. So I don't, if I have an idea on what that might look like, I'll let the town manager know and he can share it. But I haven't heard any additional lighting.
Perhaps as the information becomes available, and maybe the town manager or the city mayors can release this information on our site, so to keep our citizens informed might be helpful. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Representative Powers S, followed by Frickman.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Chief, I'd just like to say that I've seen the officers in our town do a fantastic job with de-escalation as well as response and the different things that I've witnessed personally myself. I definitely think that something should be given to the gentlemen the officers that were on the bridge the other day, and I think that that's extremely important, what you said earlier about recognizing the good job that the police department does in our town and throughout the country. It's not just in our town, but our town, I think it does an exceptional job with training.
Absolutely.
I appreciate all your hard work, all you gentlemen. And, we have 3 departments here, and it seems as though as dysfunctional as people say we are, I don't think we really are. So, but that's my opinion. So for whatever that's worth. But yes, once again, I'd like to thank you. I don't know if you guys are actually, since you're sitting in on this meeting, whether the hospital is involved in it and with the EMTs that they have, having them stationed during rush hour and, like pre-staging things just in case, because to be honest with you, you were there, I was there today in traffic going to get Chris, and it's a nightmare. I don't know how you're gonna get a fire truck through there, and heaven forbid it's anything like the truck that blew up on the bridge.
Sure,
Because that
sure.
poor gentleman, you understand what I'm saying. It just-
I do. Those are challenges even under the best of circumstances.
Correct.
This is not the best of circumstances. And DOT does recognize that. They understand that. There are plans to have folks staged at certain areas. But Murphy's Law always pops its ugly head into these things, and it's the most inconvenient time, or that one time when you don't have somebody is when something happens. Quite often, L&M medics will be sitting near the bridge, because it's easier for them. If they go east or west, it's right there. It's an easier way to do it. But the uniqueness of our public safety system is it's kind of a municipal entity. We've got 2 ambulance services here in town. New London has 1. Waterford has some. There's, and depending on whether they're tied up with other calls, depends on where
Right.
they're going to be. And
I
to
mean, the traffic-
pre-position may.
Yeah, the traffic, just because I spoke with the city chief about, the lights and where we live and, getting on and off of the highway. And I asked them if they were going to position officers with the lights, with the traffic lights themselves, because there's times of the day where it's really unsafe. We're going to have accidents within our own community if we're not careful because of the people trying to move around the traffic. So I appreciate all that you're doing. Your budget looks fantastic to me. I reviewed it extensively, and I see no changes other than finding some more officers to help your staff. Do you project how many retirements that we might be facing here in the
I
next
keep a
few
running
years?
list, yep.
So we need to find some new.
Yeah, hey, listen, in the last year and a half, we've lost 8 officers just to retirement. We've lost other officers for other reasons. We're looking for, and there's no age limit, so,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for a
No,
job, if you want to.
I wouldn't pass the physical, chief, I'm telling you.
The physical isn't what usually gets people.
You understand what I mean. I might sit in a dispatch station, but not there. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thanks for the support.
All right, Representative Frickman, followed by Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I just want to say respectfully, I take exception to a comment made earlier referencing our officers killing people. We can have public conversations about safety without making inflammatory statements that undermine the integrity of our law enforcement professionals. I appreciate you, Chief, and I thank you guys for everything you guys do, for the hard work you guys do. So I thank you for that, and hopefully that rep could rescind their comments. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the support.
All right. Rep. Thompson, followed by Dean Shinbrot.
I'm all set, thank you.
All right. Representative Dean Shinbrot.
Thank you very much. Hello, Chief. I'm the #1 fan of the Groton Town Police, as everyone knows, but recently, I'm very used to the Groton Town and City. They're highly visible. You go down to shop or whatever, there's always an officer driving through. You down by EB, there's always officers. Recently, my husband and I, who's sitting back here dutifully, drove to Tampa, Florida, and spent 2 months down there. From here to Tampa, we didn't pass one police car, not on the highway, not on the secondary road, and I found it very unnerving. In Tampa, they were visible. We drove south of Tampa, didn't see too many. So I don't know how you do it. Keep bribing them with overtime, but it's very comforting seeing everyone on the road, and I really think it acts as a deterrent. It's much easier to deter it instead of stopping it.
Well, that's the whole concept of omnipresence with policing, so.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, unless there's any first-time hands, I'll recognize second-time hands. Representative Perella, followed by Zizolka. Oh, okay, just Perella.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I wanted to compliment, of course, again, the police, because you really do a great job. The other question I had was the coordinated effort, not just with the city, but what I'm getting at is the EMS system in the town. There was a study done back in 19-something about the coordinated system. And the reason why I asked that is because, again, I commented on the other budget about the response and the R1 response, who does it first jointly, and if you're finding that with the increases in traffic and the projected planning in the town, if there is either a committee or you're working, I'm sure you probably are, but if there's a dedicated committee working on this, because we already have problems now, and I know I've talked to several of the officers, and they don't want to, they tell me, but, I would never say their names, we're really short, we really do need more help. And I know you're working on that, so I'm not directing like you're not doing that, you're doing a great job. But how can we make this happen? For example, can we possibly get a program that we could institute in either the high school or for people that want to become officers, and then have something that we could have some type of a, like they do with Electric Boat and the larger businesses. Maybe we could entice some of the young people to go into police enforcement, which would get more respect in the younger community, et cetera. This is something that I'm seeing already, and people are like, oh, the traffic is terrible, they're speeding, I want speed bumps. And I said, who did you call? I called the chief. Well, he's probably working on it. You know, speed bumps are not easy in different neighborhoods. People don't like them, some people do like them. So just going back a little bit is I didn't know, that was just a suggestion. The other one was last year, I think your budget, we did not approve that vehicle, the mobile vehicle. Is that included this year?
No.
I think, well.
No,
okay.
it was 3 strikes and you're out. So.
Oh, okay, so
yeah.
that's kind of unfortunate because like people were talking, other reps, about the mobile units. I would also suggest, and I don't know how you can do it yourself, but if you're meeting with the other town entities, is trying to get a station EMS vehicle at the Pequannock Bridge Long Hill area, because that's kind of central, so they can respond for traffic accidents, et cetera.
Yeah, I guess maybe, boy, that's a lot to unpack.
Sorry, there's a lot there.
You know, we're certainly willing to collaborate and work with anybody, certainly for the interest of the citizens of the town, the town as a whole, right? You know, it is a complex system here, and that's not to pass judgment, it's a statement of fact. We have a complex system with our public safety enterprise in Groton that needs coordination, and it has a lot of stakeholders. You know, we work, and I've got Captain McCarthy sitting back there. He attends all the Groton Fire Officer Association meetings because we're a partner with them, but we're also their single source of dispatch. And it is, you know, our dispatchers, I got to give a shout out to them. They do an exceptional job. And these aren't my words. These are words from people in the state of Connecticut that run the 911 system, CTS, which is part of DESP, which is the Department of Emergency Services, Public Protection, that has state police, emergency management, other stuff. If you can work as a dispatcher in our dispatch center, you can work anywhere. Because it is a complex system, managing a bunch of different entities, understanding geographical boundaries, even within the town itself. Because of that, there's inherent inefficiencies, but they do a great job overcoming that and working to make sure that we get, you know, the right resource to the right place at the right time, and they do an exceptional job at that. But as far as recruiting, yes, I would love to do that. I will tell you, and I don't, in many ways, I may be preaching to the choir. The workforce has changed. The desire, the ability for people to. I have a tough time competing with people to hire them as police officers. I think my friends in the fire service would have the same argument. Many people work from home. Many people, they get a good salary, they don't have to work nights, they don't have to work weekends. When it's snowing out, they can stay home. You know, they don't get mandated in for overtime shifts or held over. It takes a special person to be in public safety, to be in police work. And I went up when someone mentioned the recruiting and retention bill the governor forwarded. I was there when he signed it. I spoke on that. I was up in February up at the Hartford Police Department and was invited as the president of the Police Chiefs Association. But it's difficult to hire in this environment, and you know, again, in police work, you know, we haven't actually been painted with the best brush over the last 6 years, and that's taken its toll. We're seeing the effective results of that in many ways. Of you know, if people say, well, there's more opportunity. If I become a police officer, there's greater chance for me to get sued, arrested. There's more causes of action. There's more stress on my family. There's EB's hiring, Pfizer's hiring. That sounds like a better. The risk reward may be a little bit different. And what we try to do as police leaders and public safety leaders, tell them the merits of it. That, hey, listen, you may encounter people on their worst day, but you have an opportunity to make their worst day a little bit better, or hopefully make their lives a little bit better. And that's what our folks do every day. And again, and many of them don't get seen. Many of the things that are shown on TV are maybe the worst things that there is to offer, but there's so many times when the great work that our firefighters, our police officers, our dispatchers do are not always seen by the general public. And as much as I'd like to show videos all day of the great work they do to you guys, or do for you guys, you know, that just, it just isn't a reality of being able to do that. Did I hit your?
You did, I think you got I think you really did do a great job. You hit at least 2 of mine. The other one, what was the other one? The EMS, I got that one. Oh, the school, you got that one. This is another one, real quick. How about community policing? Is there a way that we can directly involve the lay citizens? We just had a neighbor got hired in Stonington, I believe, as I think an auxiliary policeman. I don't know the requirements, the
Community service officer, maybe?
right. If
We
maybe
have- we do have those.
Can we expand in that area, or are those part-time, no
They are
benefits?
part-time. We've got 2 right now. I think we've interviewed for some others. And they're, you know, this was something we proposed 3 or 4 years ago, I think, maybe. And we have hired, and we've had some that we've hired that have gone on to one that got hired by another department in the town of Groton, I think she was working at the finance department for a little while, but we've seen it as a bit of a pipeline to get people interested in the profession. We have 2 great young men doing it right now. Like I said, we're on the cusp of looking back. He's giving me the nod. We've got some others in the pipeline right now, right?
Yeah, we just interviewed, I know at least one this weekend, or this past week, some others in the...
Yeah, that's Captain McCarthy, so the folks on TV can hear this.
Yeah, Captain McCarthy is noting that there's a couple folks that have been interviewed for that position,
Great,
correct?
that's good to hear.
Okay.
That's right. They do, and what they do is they are part-time employees. They're non-benefited. It's an hourly, but they'll go out. They'll help us do. They may do tasks inside the police department, fingerprinting, working on helping out records a little bit. But they spend a lot of time out in the public. Hopefully, nobody in this room falls into this category, but they hand out a lot of parking tickets, and they're pretty adept at that. They do that in the downtown Mystic area and some other parts of town. But we're hoping that it's a pipeline for those people to maybe test the waters of policing and see if it's a job for them, or dispatching. I have one that's interested in being a dispatcher.
Great. Is that something they could go right onto the Groton Police site and apply right there?
It's on the HR website.
Okay.
I'll give a plug for both. If you go on the website, we have openings for police. Well, I think they reopened the dispatch one. Policeapp.org. That's another one that they can go on, or they can pick our department, Groton Town. We need people. We'll take some good people. There's a couple of different categories in there, so we're always open for find people in our society that want to serve.
Great. Thank you very much.
I have one random question. Based on the accounts here, and you're talking about officers being called for service or held or anything, I know that in the event where there's a high-end dignitary that shows up for Coast Guard Academy, where does that account fall? Like if you're taking people for overtime or things like that?
Hypothetically, were that to happen, that is not budgeted for.
Okay.
That is, and contrary to what people may think, we do not get reimbursement from the federal government.
Okay.
That's.
So in essence, if that were to occur, we would have to this would be over your budget, which would end up requiring a fourth quarter transfer, maybe?
It may be a little bit late for that, but
Okay.
we actually set up a different category for any, and I'll say this in a more holistic approach. Anything that any unforeseen incident, if there was some other major incident that happened in town that required a lot of resources, what we do is we identify a category so we can track those expenses. We put it into it's built into our budget. It's a zero, but we categorize it so we know where that came from.
Okay.
If there was some other major event, and we've had them, if there, even sometime if it was a complex criminal investigation that required a lot of resources, we would want to track that separately so we know what that costs.
Okay.
And were that to happen, we would do the same thing, and that's what we've done in the past.
All right, thank you. Any other questions on the main motion on the floor? Very well, seeing none, I will call for a vote for 1024, public safety. The main motion on the floor is for $11,818,557. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Rep. Woods, are you a yes or a no?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right, any abstentions? And we still have 35 members here, so it carries unanimously 35-0. Thank you very much. We got one more account today. If I can get Chair Allen to come on back and we could do this CIP and reconvene after that on Tuesday at 6. Tuesday at 6.
Okay, hello again. So minutes were once again Allen, Adams, Doty, Gardner, and Spotton. Motion was made by Adams, seconded by Doty for CIP 7C in the amount of $250,000. And I would like to make a motion for the same.
All right, moved by Allen, seconded by Adams, and it was, can you give me the number again, please?
250,000.
All right.
So this CIP 7C is for radios for the police department, mobile radios, and 2 portable command radios. It comes out to roughly $3,500 each, but not quite because the command ones cost more. And it just adds more functionality for the police department to be able to talk to other agencies, if I got everything correct.
All right. Is that correct, Chief Fasaro?
Well, yeah, some of them are reaching their end of life. This is really a replacement of existing equipment.
All right. Representative Powers S.
I remember when we first got body cameras. I was on the Public Safety Committee when you first acknowledged the fact that we needed them. These are the original ones that or is
No,
this the
these are
second-
radios, not body cameras.
Oh, okay. All right, but there's just this data.
Our body cameras have been replaced 3 times under contract already, so.
Has it?
Or
Okay,
we might
that's
be 4,
great.
I forgot how many.
I'm sure this is the best bid you could get, I guarantee you that.
Well, yes, but these are for portable. Our officers are assigned a portable radio.
Yep.
Cruisers have mobile radios.
Okay.
So we're looking for 2 new mobile radios for our supervisor vehicles. The portables are, I hate to say they're a bit of a consumable, but we bought them 10
No.
years ago.
Yeah, that's-
They only last so long, and the batteries it's getting cost prohibitive to buy batteries for them.
Yeah, it's like our phones. There's no difference.
That's exactly the
Yep.
analogy. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for doing this. I'm glad we're updating.
All right. I open up the floor for any other discussion on the CIP. Yes, Representative Weaver.
This is probably a silly question, but do the radios correspond at all with the paging system?
No.
Oh,
No,
thank
they're-
you.
they're totally separate.
The paging system's in the building, is that correct?
Yeah, it's not like the old school pagers that you wear on your bed. That's actually,
I didn't know
please.
if they could, like,
No, they're totally, yeah, they're independent.
All right. Representative Perella?
Is each municipality on a different wave, or what do you want to call that?
So, yeah, I'll give you a little bit of history here. So, 10 years ago, the answer to that question would be yes. Today, the answer is no. This department, our police department, was the first municipality to go on the state radio system. And it was a system that was built back in the 90s for the state police. It's been expanded. Municipalities across the state take advantage of it because, quite frankly, it's economy of scale. They've got the backbone for it. And I don't know if you were on the R.T.M. at the time, but we were looking at our radio system here in the town was going defunct. It was, built long ago. It was end of life. It was a lot of cost to repair things. We got into discussions along with Stonington, Norwich, a couple other cities and towns, and talked to the state. The state was looking to roll it out and expand this to municipalities. Now there's municipalities across the state, including all the fire departments here. So, the most recent one, all the fire service in Groton are on it. It's interoperable. It's got plenty of bandwidth. There's other entities which, the state manages that system. I think the analogy that you heard about your cell phone is probably the best analogy because I have a cell phone in my pocket. I know how it works. I know that if I dial numbers on it, I can talk to somebody, but I don't know all the things that go into it in the infrastructure. I don't need to worry about it because Verizon or AT&T or whoever this is, they worry about that. Same thing with our radio system. If there's a problem with our radio system, we're notified by the state of Connecticut, by the NCC, that's in Middletown. They will call us up before anything happens. They'll be on it. They'll be working on it to fix it. It's been a great relationship. It's been cost effective. So instead of spending the $4 or $5 million it was going to cost initially to do that, we spent $750,000 and got on the state system by making our tower at the police department part of that system, and we've benefited from it ever since. So it was, again, economies of scale, use an infrastructure that already exists instead of building something redundant, because redundancy costs money, and it was already there and it was available to us.
Thanks for answering that.
All right, any other questions on the main motion on the floor? Very well, seeing none, I'll call for a vote on CIP 7C, mobile and portable radio replacement. The number on the floor is for $250,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, please say no or raise your hand. Are there any, is there a no? Did I hear something? All right, I did not hear that. Abstentions. All right, motion carries unanimously, 35-0. I'd like to thank Chief Frisaro,
Thank you.
Deputy Chief Daly, Captain McCarthy, all your line supervisors and line level staff, dispatchers, and everybody. Again, it's a true blessing to have you as a leader here and holding down the fort. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Mr.
it.
Moderator. Appreciate
All
the
right.
support.
Thank you. All right, with that being said, thank you to D6 for whoever brought the snacks. D3 and D7, you're on the hook on Tuesday, May 19th. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock, and as I mentioned at our yesterday's meeting, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and then we'll go to caucus in the different caucus rooms. And for the folks that are online, phone a friend, and then we'll get you lined up for that caucus if you are caucusing with Democrats or Republicans exclusively, okay? I'll take a motion for recess until Tuesday. All right, motion was moved by Whitney, seconded by Chase. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. See you on Tuesday.